Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to transfer this old Dell Inspiron 660 into a gaming case. But before that, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe down below, and thank you for watching. So, before I get into the actual gaming case transfer, let me go over all the key components in this old Dell Inspiron 660 that I'll be using to transfer over. Now, if you've seen my other videos, this would be one of the easier transfers in my opinion. Also, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. So let's begin. This is your basic standard Dell 660. In this case, this one carries a Intel i3-3240 processor, which is 3.4 gigahertz, along with 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM running at 1600 megahertz. And it comes with a DVD drive, and also it came, I think, with a hard drive, probably the 500 or 1 terabyte. Just your standard stuff. And this is a really good motherboard in my opinion. In this case, this thing even came with a Bluetooth and a Wi-Fi card, as you could see it in the bottom there underneath the RAM. So all these components could be easily transferred into the new gaming case without any issues. And that's what I'm going to show you step by step. It's very simple. So a couple of things that I would think I would keep just the way they are. I would keep the RAM the way they are. 8 gigs is more than enough. I'm not 100% sure. I gotta look it up if you could go higher than 8, maybe to 2 sticks of 8 to 16 gigs total. That I gotta do, but I'm gonna stay with the RAM that I'm using. Also, as far as the CPU cooler, I would leave that alone also, since any processor that you're gonna have here is not gonna be overclockable, and at best I would recommend to take off the cooler, clean it up, put some new thermal paste that kind of give you, a point where you know how fresh the thermal paste is, and you know how long it will last. So that's one thing definitely I would do. I would not change the CPU cooler at all. Maybe just put a sticker on, and that's probably what I'm gonna do right in the middle there, an Intel sticker or something like that to spruce it up a little bit. But again, that's up to you. If you want to make it fancier, you could put a little bit better cooler, maybe like a tower cooler or something, but I think it's unnecessary. Also, definitely would keep that nice Bluetooth Wi-Fi card, transfer that over. And of course, depends on the case we're going to be using, if we're going to transfer the DVD drive also. So that's we'll see what case I'm going to use. At this point, I'm not sure yet, but the final product is coming soon. So now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and take everything out and just go over all the connections that we're gonna be using to transfer over to the gaming case. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so this is pretty much all the parts that I took out from the original desktop 660 Inspiron, and that's what I'm going to use to make a successful transfer into a gaming case. So here we have the I/O shield on the right, pops right out of the case. That's what I love about this desktop, because you could easily just pop this into a gaming case, nice and black, looks good. Here we have the 2 Wi-Fi wires that go along with this Bluetooth/Wi-Fi card. That's a really excellent feature. So you're getting a lot in this combo. I'm keeping the 2 sticks of 4 gigs each, total of 8 gigs of RAM. I am leaving the stock cooler. I'm just gonna blow it out. It looks a little bit dusty. Then when I actually do some gaming test benchmarks, I'll see what kind of temperatures I'm getting in the CPU. If it's running a little bit hot, of course I recommend opening this up, clean it up, and just put some new thermal paste. But that's really up to you. Okay, next, very easy. This is a standard front audio connection. It will work with any aftermarket case. Very simple, just plug it right in here and you're good to go. And these are the front panel USB connections. So as you could see on this motherboard, there is no front 3.0 USB connection. So whatever case you're gonna have, you're not going to be able to have 3.0 connection in the front panel. So I would go for maybe a different case that only has 2.0 to make it look nice, so you don't have that empty option, but that's really up to you. And then don't forget to connect your system fan, that way you don't get an error. Again, it has a 3-pin connection, which you could use any aftermarket fan, depends on your case size, maybe 120mm or maybe 140mm. And again, I'm going to show you everything once the final product is and go over all the wiring again. It's very simple. And the last part here is your front panel, and here all you have to really worry is about one connection. It's this third set of pins, 1, 2, 3. Let me just zoom in for you and give you a better idea. And going from the top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, third row, and you could put the power connection across, so that will be horizontal. And again, once I have everything connected to the case, I'm gonna go over all the wiring again. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is definitely one of the easier transfers. I really like how Dell did this computer. It's very easy. Oh, and one other thing, I mentioned that this system here comes with an i3 3240, but this thing is definitely upgradable to an i5 or an i7. I do recommend always updating the BIOS for the motherboard, the latest one, because it'll give you a better support on the 3rd generation processors. So once again, this is a 3rd gen motherboard, and I'm using a 3rd gen processor, and with just to make sure, I would definitely recommend to update the BIOS. And you could put it an i5, an i7. Also depends, of course, which package deal you have on the 660, as they come in i5s also. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All there's left to do is show you the final finishing transfer, and then we'll go into some gaming test benchmarks. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so the transfer is finally complete. And here we go. So let me go over all the parts I use for this transfer, and then I'm going to take out the graphics card and give you a little bit better look at the motherboard so you get the exact idea of what are the things you need to do. And like I mentioned before, this is one of the easier transfers. It's really, you don't need no adapters or anything like that compared to the other Dell transfers I've done. So this is very enjoyable transfer. It works really well, and I was able to use most of the parts. So let's just go over a couple of things here. So number one, I went with the 430 watt 80 plus rated power supply made by PowerSpec. It's all black, as you could see. It's very nice, perfect for this little system. I was on a budget. I didn't want to spend more than a certain amount of money, so for this build I went with the Msi GTX 1050 Ti, which is still a pretty good graphics card, and it does not require a lot of power. And also I kept the 8 gigs of RAM that came with the motherboard. Also I reused the same 500 gigabyte hard drive that came originally with the computer. I didn't go with SSD. Again, I'm on the budget. It's really up to you what you want to do. I mean, definitely it's fully compatible with any drive out there, SSD or a regular hard drive. So that's really up to you. Also, I did use the Wi-Fi card that came with it, and I know I mentioned earlier in the video that it's a Bluetooth, but no, at the end of it, it's just a Wi-Fi card. This motherboard does not have Bluetooth capability. You could always get an adapter for like 10 bucks. Very simple. You just put it in the USB, and you could use any Bluetooth. Any Bluetooth will work with that. It works really good. So this Wi-Fi adapter is decent that comes with it. It is only 2.4 gig. It's not a 5G ready, so that's something to think about. Otherwise it did do its job. I was able to download certain files fairly quick, but you could always upgrade your Wi-Fi card in a PCI Express lane or so. And what else? I reused the IO shield, of course, for a cleaner look. I cleaned out the CPU fan, and I put the Intel sticker on it. Oh yeah, and one less important thing is I did go ahead and upgrade the processor to an i5. Now this original Dell 660 came with the i3 3240, but I upgraded to a 3470 processor, 3.4 gigahertz i5 to give that just a little bit more power, and it was very successful. I didn't even need to update the BIOS. It worked perfectly without any issues, and that of course gave me opportunity to clean up the CPU cooler. So that is as far as that. And I also got a really budget-like case. This is just a small micro tower, very basic. There's no window panel or anything, but there is some room for some fans. As you can see, I have a 120 millimeter green LED fan up front and a 80 millimeter blue LED exhaust fan, and I think it really works well for this. Definitely just enough cooling there, airflow for a small build like this. So now let me take you a little closer look to some of the wiring I did. I'm going to take out the graphics card and zoom in on the motherboard. Okay, so now we're taking a closer look to all the wiring, so pay attention. Of course, I don't expect you guys to have OCD wiring like this to the very minimum, very open space. There's good airflow here. We'll start off here with the front panel audio. It's right here on the left. It's compatible. This pinout is compatible with any aftermarket case. Very easy to use, so you'll plug that in there. And on the right here, we have two USB 2.0s. In this case, I am using both of them because of the way this case is. It has 2.0 on top and in the middle here. So for most of you guys, you'll only have one 2.0 front panel. And don't forget that this motherboard does not come with a front 3.0 connection for the front USB, which is unfortunate, but you could get around that by adding an USB 3.0 expansion card here in the back. And usually they do come with a front panel connection, so you'll just run your wire right here into the expansion card. You'll have additional rear USB 3.0s, and you could actually combine that to the front wire. In this particular case, this case does come with the front 3.0 wiring, but I just have it rolled up here since it's not being used. Next, we have the network card, which I kept. It's not the 5G, it's 2.4. It's useful if you're on a budget. Not the fastest. And as you could see, I'm running the two Wi-Fi cables behind for a nicer look. And it's basically behind the motherboard on the side panel there. I taped it up, and it does its job. I mean, it's not the best, but if you're on a budget and you just want to utilize everything, why not? Okay, now here's the important part. This is our front panel pinout, and again, it's pretty much straightforward. If you want to get a better look at this, all you have to do is Google Dell Inspiron 660 front panel pinout to get the exact matching. But basically, you're using the top half going from top to bottom, and the power is the most important thing, which is this one here will be the third pin down, and you just put it across, cover the two pins, and you put it flat, and that's how you get your power on and off button, which is here. And the rest that I was able to utilize is power LED and HD LED. They work fine too. That's again on the pinout if you Google it to give you a better look. Let me just see if I could show you a little bit better. Right there. And yeah, that's what I would recommend. That's what I did myself. You could always give that good old screwdriver test and just find the right pins, but this one is very easy to find. What else we got here? Like I said, I upgraded the processor, and in the meantime I went ahead and cleaned out the CPU cooler. Now it's running really good temperatures, and I even added a nice sticker to an Intel because usually it's blank to give it a nice look for the Intel badge. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Very important, you are gonna have to have the let me show you here, your system fan connected, otherwise you're going to get an error every time. So make sure whatever build you have the 3-pin connection to your system fan. In my case, it's kind of weird because this system fan wires all the way to the front. It's a long wire, and I routed it that way because this rear fan does not have the 3-pin connection, and I use the Molex. But yes, you must have that connected so you don't have an error. Otherwise, everything was pretty smooth, nice and clean. I didn't use the DVD drive that came originally. I just wanted a cleaner look. So that wraps it up. So all there's left to do is try out a couple of games and see how well this little beast runs. So stay tuned for that. So now I'm gonna test out just a handful of games, show you how successful this transfer is. And as you can see, the first game here is the Star Wars, and it looks amazing. Here are the settings. We are on the Epic 1080p full screen and averaging pretty good FPS, you know, somewhere around 60 FPS, depends on the area. Plays really well, no issues. You know, the old i5 still got it, and the GTX 1050 Ti is still a pretty decent card.
Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Ladder's out though. Gonna have to find another way.
Yeah, no problem. I'll improvise.
See you there, pal.
Depart this barge immediately. You are not approved trash.
Trash? Just not approved trash.
Here I have Gears of War 5, and it's running pretty smooth. I am currently on medium preset, VSync off. And you could go up to high in this case, but I'm going to stay with medium for overall best performance, with just the motion blur off.
Dave, fetch.
Didn't expect there'd still be bodies. Only a handful of us made it off this road alive.
Gotta cut through. Okay, let's go. Get back! We're coming down! Guess who? Dave, send a pulse and let's see what we're dealing with. Ah, there they are.
I'll take care of this one.
Okay, let's put him down!
Get in the cover!
Okay, so here we are wrapping it up. This is the last game I'm going to test out, which is Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, and a beautiful remastered it is. Let's take a quick look at the graphic options we have here. We're on full screen 1080p, and These are the settings, very good settings. I would say this is pretty much what it picks for me automatically. And we are using 4 gigs of the VRAM, as you can see in the bottom right corner, and getting really good frame rates. So as you could see, this little build here turned out to be very good. And again, your results may vary. You might get a better power supply, an SSD drive, more RAM, better graphics cards. I mean, the sky is really the limit. If you get the Dell Inspiron 660 for a really good deal, 20, 30, 40 bucks, you know, I think it's well worth it. So that's it, everybody. That wraps it up. Let me know what you guys think. Leave any comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.